Hello, hello, audience. This is Learning with the Labrador, and today we are learning all about how racist and bigoted and homophobic the South is. It's almost like it's full of uneducated individuals. I would call them far worse than that, but this is the radio, so we have to use our polite voice to teach people that enjoying the genders that you enjoy, guess what? Humanity's always done that and will continue to do that. So being upset with people over that is one of the most foolish things that you could possibly do ever.
Yes, and this is a message specifically for Chase Herbert at WWPR Radio, who told me to stop calling my husband on the radio. Now, I think that it is obvious from what Chase said that he would not say this to a female co-host. Therefore, it is discriminatory based on a protected characteristic, which is against the law.
And the wider Florida region of all you poor school teachers that have to bend their will to the whims of a, quite frankly, uneducated governor. Good God.
Ron DeSantis.
We're diving straight into what is going on in your monkey brain right now? Mm-hmm. You're banning books. You're banning all sorts of stuff. I've read through a lot of what you're banning, and it makes absolutely no educated sense. It's almost like you're an uneducated Florida man, Ron DeSantis. What are you doing? Why? Why are you preventing school teachers? Why are you making it harder for school teachers to provide a quality education? It's almost like you went to an elite private school. Meanwhile, you don't know how to run a school yourself. So you're trying to tell the school teachers how to run your own schools in your own district. Boy, you are cruising for a bruising, my friend. Nobody's going to vote for you. No, if you keep this up, you're burning your career to the ground. Congrats! Now, moving it to our chopper in the sky. How is our chopper in the sky? What does it see today?
Well, my friend, it sees that the Ron DeSantis Foundation, the Ron DeSantis Governor's Mansion has been leveled to the ground by a tactical nuke from our wonderful friend, Mr. Labrador. A tactical nuke of satire and a tactical nuke of pointed criticism. Back to you.
Oh, thank you. Here in the bombshell bunker of...
we have the perfect music for this.
We do. Now, as far as Ron DeSantis, we, quite frankly, wish that you, and hope that you, lose your election laughably, because you don't understand what you're doing in your state. Now, moving on to our next topic. Our next topic.
Before we move on to the next topic, I would like to say here and now that as a person who cares deeply about education, cares deeply about the education of underprivileged and underserved students, especially neurodivergent, LGBT, and students from rural areas. Okay? So we're talking about people like me, okay? I grew up in Arkansas and Missouri. I also lived in Florida for quite a while as a child. So we are talking about people like me. And when you are talking about neurodivergent, LGBT, and kids from underserved rural communities, it is critical that teachers have every resource at their disposal to be able to help these students. So, for example, many of the books that Ron DeSantis has banned are specifically in relation to LGBT characters. And so, I would like to ask you, Ron DeSantis, how do you expect a gay student? Again, don't think about a young student. Obviously, a child, 7, 8, something like that, they don't know what they want. They have not gone through puberty. Obviously, they don't know what they want. That is just part of growing up. But I would argue that every, let's say, 18-year-old student that I've ever met knew exactly what they wanted.
Correct.
Whether they want a girlfriend, boyfriend, neither, both, whatever. It doesn't matter. They know what they want. And so telling a teacher of a 18-year-old gay student that they can't provide a book to help them understand themselves because that is on the banned books list is tantamount tantamount, meaning the same as, telling the teacher, no, don't use the computer to teach your students. Don't use the blackboard. Don't even use a crayon. You have to do it, just, come up with it on the fly. Who cares? You're just a teacher.
Oh, yes, the teachers are all experts in improv comedy because, quite frankly, I'm rolling in the aisles laughing at the idiocy and, quite frankly, brain-dead policies of Ron DeSantis. He's a genius. Guys, he's a genius. He's figured it out. The teachers have to be improv comedists. They have to be...
improv communists?
Improv
comedians.
Improv comedians. There we go. I stumbled over my words. But guess what, Ron DeSantis? You are one of the smartest human beings I've ever had the displeasure of meeting. And yes, if you meet me in public, you're going to have words for me. But guess what? You're cute. Now, moving on.
You're cute?
Now, moving on to our next topic, are disaster preparedness and the Karen. Because the Karen is making it much harder for disaster preparedness to actually effectively be used.
Beep, 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 beep. We have a telegram coming in.
That is the Karen alert.
That is the telegram coming in. Beep, 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 beep. What is a Karen?
Now,
a Karen is a person, male or female, typically between the ages of 40 and 50, who comes into a customer service business or any other business or institution and gives a hard time to the customer service staff. So this is a person who asks to speak to a manager when their latte is made wrong, quote unquote, wrong.
Correct.
Okay, so a Karen, and again, can be male or female. Sometimes people call a Karen a different name if it's a male person, but often it's just called a Karen, whether male or female. So we are not referring to a specific gender. We are simply referring to a name, a Karen. Okay. You can also think of this as calling someone a jerk, because only a jerk would walk into a bank, get angry at the teller, and then ask for the manager.
Correct. Now, diving back into the Karen alert, you can play the... we have a Karen here on the street. Karen, go!
Karen here on the street. Oh, hello, Karen. Hello.
Hello. I just got my latte incorrect. It didn't have enough pumps of cream.
Oh, you got your latte incorrect. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Karen. Now, here's what
I need to speak to your manager.
Oh, well, I am the manager. Actually, I'm the company owner. So you can level your complaints directly with me if you so choose. You have 30 seconds, and if you say anything profane, I will turn this microphone off and walk away from you. Here you go.
Now, here's the thing. Karens are not used to being talked to that way.
Correct.
Now, you will notice that a Karen, again, we're defining the term for many people who may not know it, okay? Because what a Karen wants is to feel powerful.
What a Karen typically gets in, especially food industries and whatnot, is the look of... I'm going to commit bodily harm if you don't go away.
Now, here's the thing. It is not illegal to look at someone.
It's not illegal to give people dirty looks.
It's not illegal to give people dirty looks.
It's very similar to the expression of, if looks could kill.
Correct. So this would be an example of the type of look that you would give to a Karen if they came into Dunkin' Donuts when you worked there.
I am very good at this look.
Now, let me clarify for the listener, because we talk about this concept frequently. We talk about the concept of perverse incentives.
Yes, perverse incentives.
Perverse incentives means you do a bad thing and you get what you want.
Correct.
So, for example, a perverse incentive would be people in the Russian government taking bribes.
Correct. And
for example,
failing your entire nation.
Thank you. So, for example, the person in charge of the Russian army gets paid approximately $200,000 a year.
Correct.
Okay. Not bad. I mean, that makes sense for someone who is a person high up in an armed forces.
Correct.
Okay? $200,000 makes sense. But this person, on a salary of $200,000 a year, owns a $25 million mansion.
explain that mathematics to me real quick.
The mathematics is he took bribes.
Because I'm not really a numbers guy. I'm not really a numbers guy.
Thank you, Puss in Boots. Thank you. So that's an example of perverse incentives. So for this type of person, a person willing to do things that are unethical. A person who is willing to do things that are unethical, like yell at a customer service person. Often they get what they want.
Correct.
Which is, 1, respect.
2,
begrudging. And 2,
free stuff.
Their money back. A refund. So they get their latte or whatever, and they get their money back. So that teaches them to do it again.
Well, you see, perverse incentives don't really work on me in these kinds of industries because at the end of the day, I'm one of those people that I need to speak to your manager. No, you don't. Go away. Now, I have told people to go away. You are wasting my time.
Correct. And unfortunately, for many, many, many people, they would be fired if they said that.
Fortunately, I managed to never get fired for any of that stuff.
Now, the reason why, and let me explain this to you, because this is important, especially for people who work in these industries to understand. Okay? The reason why you could say that and not get fired is because people would say things like this about you. They would say, that's just Trey being Trey. For example, okay? So another example of this, in the same vein, all right? So from the opposite perspective, is in old department stores. Like Sears, for example, back in like the 50s and 60s. Macy's, that kind of store. They would have what's called a patsy, which means if a customer was upset, they would call in one person whose job was to get fired. Now, this person would not actually be fired, but in front of the customer, they would say, "You're fired for making this mistake." And the customer goes, "Yes, thank you. I did a service to the community today by getting this person fired." And then the patsy goes, "Oh, yes, I'm so sorry," and just goes back to their office and continues their work.
Again, I managed to... when I was working at Dunkin', it was amazing. I managed to survive a sexual harassment case against me.
Correct. A completely spurious one.
A completely spurious sexual harassment case against me.
Because
I managed to survive multiple, like 30 managers that wanted to get rid of me.
Well, when you are as good at your job as you, they can't fire you.
I managed to bully my way up to $13 an hour.
Really?
Before it was the standard.
Wow.
I managed to bully. I managed to convince. I told the manager, I either get a pay raise or I'm quitting on the spot. Guess what?
You got a pay raise?
I got a pay raise.
Now, in my opinion, just to clarify on the sexual harassment thing, so this is what happened for the sake of the listeners, because many listeners would hear what you just said and go, "Oh, he harassed a woman?" No. The woman was retaliating by saying sexual harassment happened when it did not happen. Okay?
Meanwhile, I exposed a dozen people for their sexual harassment.
So, ironically enough, you were doing the right thing, and someone retaliated against you, illegally, by the way. So, to continue, go ahead.
The way that it actually happened was that she started the case, and the investigator, I turned around, I told the investigator all of the sexual stuff that was going on. About all the ladies, and where they prefer to have, where their most interesting places to have happy, fun times, in various very weird locations.
Locations? What do you mean?
One of the weirdest locations that they were talking about was doing it in the middle of a cemetery.
Oh my god. At work?
They
were talking about this?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I told the investigator that I felt incredibly uncomfortable about it. I also told the investigator that this behavior I wasn't nearly adept at words and
No, was not nearly adept at words. Yes, great sentence. Not as adept at words as you are now.
Exactly. So I was working off of pure feeling.
Absolutely. Pure intuition.
Pure feeling, pure intuition, pure feeling.
Yep.
And that was enough to get me transferred to another store, a pay raise, becoming an assistant manager.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Because
take exit 111 for US 70 West toward Hot Springs.
A person, such as an investigator, must follow the truth.
Yes.
Or you can go to their manager and get them fired.
Correct.
That's the same reason why the person we are going to talk to about all the abuses happening at Oaklawn Casino in Hot Springs, Arkansas is Natalie, the head of HR.
Correct.
Because if she doesn't fix it
or follow up on it,
then we go to the FBI and tell them everything that's going on. And keep in mind, we have the business card of an FBI agent that we can show to her and say, if you don't fix this, we are going to report this to him.
Correct.
Because the FBI would be very interested to learn about all of the crimes happening at Oaklawn Casino.
The fact that horses got stolen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, a large amount of embezzlement and money laundering. Now, that is not confirmed yet. That is only alleged. But I think that the FBI would be very interested in their white-collar crimes division about the enormous amount of money laundering that I have been hearing is happening at Oaklawn. Now, again, alleged. But I'm very interested to...
Take exit 111 for US 70 West toward Hot Springs.
I am very interested to speak with Miss Natalie about this and get her to fix it, or we go to the federal police.
Yeah,
now, we are going to take a very quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.